Hey there folks, welcome to this video, and here I'm going to be talking about more WRC news, as Toyota has unveiled their 2020 Challenger today. And whilst it does look pretty much the same to what they've had in 2019, 2018 and 2017, in fact Teemu Välirinki was very quick to point out the livery is more or less identical since Toyota's returned to the top flight, there are some slight differences. So apart from what Tommy Macklin talked about, which was an upgraded engine and a lighter car, in this video we're going to be having a bit of a look at the graphics that have been released by TGR and talking about what slight differences there are, and then I'm going to be talking about, well, what do I expect from them this season. So first off, let's have a look at the front end, and it doesn't look like there's too much different at the front. You can see that on the little winglets underneath the headlight there is now a black line, something that wasn't on the 2019 car, but all in all it looks relatively the same. There's not really much that's changed in between the two seasons. However, if we decide to pan out a little bit and we have a look down the side, you can see a bit more of a change. The rear wing has got a bit more of a different profile this season, something more akin to, say, what Citroën were testing at the end of last season, where it seems to be one massive element joined onto the back of the car, as opposed to a little bit that sits out further from the car like it did in 2019. That could be because of the changes to WRC rules, which were designed largely to impact teams like Toyota because of their rear wing design, but it might also not be. Again, you can see the front winglet elements are slightly different again, though we did note that at the front end. The other thing that stands out a bit to me here is the rear bumper seems to go out a bit more and sit a bit higher up. But again, it's not really much of a difference. There doesn't really seem to be much difference between the two competitors visually. Largely the rear wing, but then if you have a look at the sponsors, even though there have been some changes, one of the ones that stood out to me for the 2021 is Ponzi sitting on the rear wing, given that we were supposedly hearing that EP had signed them as a sponsor going across to Ford. Now if we move along to talking about the back section of it, you can see a bit more the change in the rear wing. So it's a larger top element, and to be honest, the bottom element seems to be a bit wider as well. However, the vanes that sit at either side of the rear wing seem to have been reduced in size. Again, I don't know if that's because of regulation change or if that's because of any kind of changes to design for aerodynamic reasons. It also appears to sit a little bit narrower and a little bit higher in terms of the bodywork. That could also be because of my cropping skills. I've been trying to throw this together quite quickly, and as you might have seen, some of the graphics did tear a little bit. But what I've had a look at is how the rear wing is probably the biggest changing factor on the two models. Of course, both of these are demo models. We're not expecting them to look exactly the same at Monte Carlo. Potentially very similar due to homologation, of course, but it does look quite interesting, and personally I think it's a bit of a different Challenger going into 2020, and I'd be interested to see how the rear downforce serves. And that's especially because of the fact that bits and pieces can change. So for example, for tarmac rounds like Germany later in the season, but also for faster events like Finland, you might see downforce levels changing a little bit in the cars. Also at rallies where, say, you're more likely to break bits off, so let's say Turkey, potentially Mexico, Argentina, and, well, the Safari, we might see slightly different layouts and slightly different aerodynamics coming into it from teams like Toyota. But all in all, it looks relatively the same, and I'm not going to say that I'm disappointed by the fact that the livery is similar again. There tends to be some consistency in regards to WRC liveries. Really, M Sports are one that bucks the trend the most. But I was surprised to see no major Red Bull sponsorship on the 2020 Challenger. And I wonder if Hyundai are going to be carrying the Red Bull sponsorship, given they're the reigning manufacturers champions, but also given the fact that they have the reigning drivers champion in Lloyd Tanak in their fold as well. I mean, we'll have to see that when Hyundai unveil their Challenger. Not sure how they're going to do it. Previously, they've done it through things such as a press conference. But they could very much just turn up at Monte Carlo and go, yep, this is our car. We're here to do this. We're here to win the title. Let's go. But yeah, 2020 is very much nearly upon us. In 2 weeks' time, we'll be deep into Rally Monte Carlo. And I can tell you, I really am excited. If you want to stay in the loop and have a bit of a discussion about WRC stuff with me, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you want to let your thoughts be known, do that in the comments below. If you want to hit the bell icon as well while you're subscribing, you can be notified of any kind of future uploads and streams. So for example, on Sunday, I'm going to be doing a video talking about the first half of the Dakar Rally. As well, the second half gets underway. I want to thank you so much for watching, thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you all stick around here for more content, especially as the WRC season is about to get underway. And I hope to see you again soon. Bye bye for now.